Okay, welcome back to the Crypto Factory. Welcome back to your favorite cryptopreneurship show. My name is Paul, and today we're going to be talking about Bitcoins. We're going to be talking about altcoins. I'm going to be giving you the key levels to be looking at, and these levels matter. Look, these levels matter now. January, February, you need to watch these levels so we can look at the probabilities of where Bitcoin and altcoins are going to go, because altcoins are apparently, or are pretty much following Bitcoin. Altcoins, I would say, are waiting for permission from Bitcoin for them to run, and we've seen signs of that. We're going to be talking about that. I'm going to be answering your questions in the chat, so please put your questions in the chat. If you want me to look at coins, if you have any questions generally on markets, anything you want, put it in the chat. I will be answering them live while I'm drinking my coffee here. Currently, I'm in Greece. I'm also in Dubai, depending where you're going to catch me. And basically, this channel is all about cryptocurrency, but with a twist. It's for you. It's about you. I want these live streams to exist, to give value and to answer your questions, if that makes sense. And going into 2026, we're going to be doing a lot more live streams. We're going to be giving a lot more value, but we'll talk about that later. Let's go and look at the Bitcoin price and see what is going on, because I need you to understand this. I need you to understand this because a lot of people are going to get wrecked because, quite frankly, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So let's start with the daily chart on Bitcoin on the factor line. Okay, so this is the daily chart on Bitcoin. And a lot of people are calling this a bear market. A lot of people are calling this, God knows why, a bull market. And most people don't understand that there's a third option, and that is a sideways market. We are in a sideways market. We called that we're going to be in a sideways market for a while. We've called the range for a while, and we're waiting for the direction of the break of the range to see whether we go bull, whether we go bear. If we go up, we're expecting either a dead cat bounce, a relief rally, or a meet of all-time highs, or a challenge of all-time highs, or even continuation. If we go down, then we're looking at a potential bear market. That's what we're going to be looking at in the charts. And we're not going to guess, we're not going to look at news, we're not going to look at all that crap, fundamentals, schfundamentals, we don't care. We look at charts. Show me the charts, I'll tell you the news. Not show me the charts, but this is happening in here, and this is happening there, and this, and I'm getting all biased because of everything that's going. No, we just look at charts. We look at price over everything. So here we are, right now on the daily, on the Bitcoin, on the factor line. And look, the price, we actually called it's going to hold 80,000 over here. It did. I told you this was a buying signal. It was, as soon as this candle broke to the upside. And then we saw that we started getting rejection, higher low, rejection, higher low, rejection. But then we went down, SFP buy signal by the factor line itself here. And now we're saying we're going back up. Long story short, this here, and factor line is giving you this, is a mid-range. It's trading in the middle of this range here, or should I say the bottom. Let's just make this white. The bottom half of this range right here. So basically, Bitcoin's going sideways, and we're waiting for the potential break of this upper range, or this mid-upper range, because remember, we're in the middle over here. So if you want to get more technical, and if you want to get more precise, for me, we have to clear 94,000, which is this level over here. So see this as a mini range, right? We have to break this and make the support as so, all right? And then we have to see if it's gonna break the higher range part over here. Let's make this green so you can see what we're looking at here. So this is the bullish case. Then we have to see if we're gonna actually, we're probably gonna reject here, if we're gonna break out, or if we are gonna trade in this range over here for a while longer, if that makes sense, okay? This is what we're looking at. This is one potential, and don't worry, we'll look at macro analysis. We'll look at what we're looking at and what the levels we want to see for continuation of the bull market and so on in just 1 second. Just bear with me. I need to put all this in the charts so you can understand. I had somebody in the comment section the other day saying, oh, why are you talk too much, you explain too much, just tell us your prediction if you're bullish or bearish. This is why you're getting wrecked. This is why you're poor. You need context. And you should learn how to use these charts. I want to give you the tools to actually understand, and also so you can make up your own mind. Maybe I'm missing something. And the comments down below or the chat's always open for that. All right? So here's what and I'm not missing anything. I'm just saying I'm being a bit sarcastic, but you know what I mean. Let's be humble. Maybe I am missing something. And I'm open to that. I'm open to discuss that and completely embarrass you online. There's no problem with that, okay? But this is where we are right now. The bearish scenario is if this rejects at some point, comes down, cannot hold the bottom of the range, then the likelihood, and I'm saying likelihood for this line here not to hold, let's make this the red line, this is actually dangerous. Because if this breaks and becomes resistance, then yes, we potentially increase for a bear market. Why do we potentially increase for a bear market? It's very simple. See this low over here? Right here, this low candle at 74,000-ish. Let's just move this line down here and extend it so you can see this better. This is the red line in the sand. Why is this the red line in the sand? Because 74,000 is key to break structure. Anything that closes above 74,000 is just another higher low. So people saying this is a bear market, look, we went all the way, we came up here, we rejected, came all the way down here, right? And down here, we came back up, and now we're in this range. But over here, this is the low, this is where structure breaks. So this is just a higher low right now. So until this breaks, you cannot call this a bear market. Now, look at this. See the previous range over here? This was also a sideways market over here. And look, as you can see, when we broke out of this range to the upside, we went wild. And when we came down, we held the top of this range over here. If I extend this line, look how perfectly it corresponds to the higher part of this range over here. This is why ranges are so important, and this is why most people underutilize ranges in crypto. They also underutilize candles and other indicators as well, but that doesn't matter, it's for a different video. But this is why most people underutilize ranges, don't understand ranges, and don't understand the significance of the ranges. They're a lot more important than other indicators you see people use out there. Okay? And if you know how to use them, this is why I implemented them in the factor line. The factor line gives you ranges automatically. If you take my course, I actually dive into ranges a lot because ranges are key, and this is why most people are getting wrecked. Now, so I hope you understand this, okay? Now, something very important. The top of the range here, I'm going to do something else for you guys. The top of the range here, right here, that I am right now, if I extend it all the way back, and I actually extend the top of the previous range back here as well, you get a smaller range over here. And you get a better picture. See how price respects this range to the upside, to the downside, and so on. This range over here is very strong resistance. So if we have a bullish scenario, and we come up and reject here, and we come back down, right? And we actually break, as I said earlier, which is my most likely scenario, by the way. So if those of you that think I'm a perma bull or I'm being bullish or I'm not, my most likely scenario, probability-wise, is this to happen, even though I'm anticipating a continuation, right? Let me show you something. This would then be a topping formation, because look, you have the left shoulder, head, and right shoulder here. And this is a heads and shoulder pattern. This is a topping formation. And with the break of the neckline, especially down here where it's structure broken, this will then very likely come into a bear market. And it doesn't mean that we're going to get much lower for much lower than this. The problem is that this can stay for a prolonged period of time, longer than this over here. So you can stay down for over a year. And this will put or a year or so, and this will ultimately bleed altcoins and reduce faith and trust in Bitcoin, as all bear markets. Does that make sense? So that's what we're looking at the daily. Now, you also have to understand that you also have to look at multiple time frames, okay, which is very important. So let's have a look at some other time frames here so we can get a better picture. So I'm going to move to the weekly real quick. And you can actually see this a lot clearer on the weekly because look, left shoulder, right shoulder, head. But we haven't come up here. And every time Bitcoin breaks a certain indicator, the 50, the weekly 50 close, every time it breaks, which it has, you have to understand that it usually comes up to meet that. It usually comes up to meet that. So I'm expecting a run at least to this resistance, a rally or a dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call it, and then we'll see for a topping formation. Now, could this continue and go to an extended bull market? Because you have to take timing. We're at the 4-year cycle end, and yes, a lot of people are saying the 4-year cycle has ended, has finished, we're gonna have extended cycles. I have always, for the last 2 years, been telling you, I'm gonna work this like a 4-year cycle until proven otherwise, because if I take profits at the right time, I can always get back in later with leverage if it extends and there's a continuation. Just my advice, what I'm personally thinking, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is what I'm looking at, this is my own opinion, all right? That's what I've been doing since 2017. So, on the weekly, yes, the factor line turned red, telling you to sell over here, but we're seeing another bottom formation that looks like this one over here. And this is why we need to wait to see what happens with this range so we can see if there's a continuation or not, if that makes sense. Okay, this is very important. So yes, we're red on the weekly, but let's see, because if we break this range, the factor line will become gold. If this continues to go down and breaks 80,000, then that's your cue to get out, in my opinion, with a bigger cue if it goes under 74,000, because that would constitute to a probable bear market. But you could also wait a little bit and see, depending on your risk tolerance down here. But this is what we're looking at. This is what we're looking on the weekly. Looking at the 4-hour, which gets interesting, by the way, and I'm just loving this chart. This is actually the best time to get into crypto, or at least Bitcoin right now, for the simple reason that you have such a clear chart. You know your stop losses, know when to get out, know when to double down. So you're basically getting in, double downing on the break, or doubling a position on the way up once there's a break on ranges. 1, 2, you're doubling. If you go down and you break down, you're exiting with stop losses. Whether they're mental, whether they're on charts, depending if you're a day trader, swing trader, or investor, doesn't matter. Does that make sense? This is why I'm loving these charts. This is one of the best charts I've seen all year, all right? So, looking at the 4-hour, you can clearly see the range over here. The 4-hour range is actually top to bottom. So, because this is where we trade, we use the 4 hours to trade. The rest of the analysis, very clear, doesn't change, it's the same. If I just delete these 52 drawings over here, you'll see the 4-hour range the factor line gave us. We're actually trading at the top of the 4-hour range, and we're waiting for this breakout. If we can get this breakout at 92,000 on the 4-hour, and of course you have to draw this top right here where the SFP sell was. So let me take that back, 93, 94,000 psychological. If we can break this range on the 4-hour, chances are we're gonna come up, meet 100, 105, 107,000, even 110, 100, even higher. And then we'll see if there's some sort of heads and shoulders as we were talking about here later on, if that makes sense. All right, so that's what we're looking for on Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin price. So it's not bear, we're not in a bear market, we're in a range, we're in a sideways market. It's not a bear market until 74,000 breaks and becomes resistance. That breaks structure. Until then, structure is not broken. For those of you telling me that we're in a bear market, we're not. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I'm just being very, I'm trying to be respectful. There's some people that say it in a respectful way, some people that say their opinion, then there are those idiots that just try and insult me in the comments section, and they're just making fools of themselves. But for those of you that want to learn, we have not broken structure. This is not a bear market. We're in a sideways range pattern. We're waiting for the breakout of the range so we can see the probabilities of either the 74K breaking and then going into a potential bear market, or if we're going to break to the upside and there's a continuation, where is it going to go? Is it going to be a relief rally? Is it going to be a continuation? We'll see. That is what's going on with Bitcoin. Okay? Does that make sense? Do I have your attention till now? All right? Please like this video, which my button doesn't work here. Please like this video. There's supposed to be a graphic that comes up like this, and it just goes. It's not working. So pretend this is the graph. Just hit the button that looks like this. I would really appreciate it. Now, let's have a look at overall altcoins. Then let's have a look at the questions in the chat. So start putting the questions in the chat now, because I'm going to get to them very soon. Okay, I'm going to drink a sip of coffee. And we're going to go into the overall altcoin market. So this is the altcoin market right now, okay? These are our top, let's say, holdings. And as you can see, all in the green here, yes, they've dropped a lot. We don't need to tell me this. We know that. But you can see that generally speaking, altcoins are waiting for permission from Bitcoin to run. These are some of our other holdings over here. Whether they're left over, we have allocations or whatever, nodes and so on. These are our meme coins. The only meme coins I am holding right now. And of course, staking allocations. Just showing you what I'm holding so you know, full transparency here, because I am holding a lot of these coins, some smaller positions, some larger. And this is what we're holding right now. CC, one of the first people to call this, 128% on the month. You're welcome. Zcash called it $144, now at 506. You're welcome. We're doing actually pretty well here. And yes, we told you not to get into the other, and Aster we're pretty strong in, and Hype. And we told you not to get too much into other altcoins until we see what's going on. We were right about Zcash and so on. Let's see what happens, because the rest are just waiting for permission from Bitcoin. You can see this, it's clear. Even if you go to the weekly, it's clear here. If you go to the monthly, these are the ones that I've been telling you to get in the last month, right? And a couple of more privacy coins as well. Bitcoin, right now, 91,349. Every time it goes above 90,000, altcoins start running because they're just waiting for permission. And once Bitcoin runs and breaks 100,000, all hell will come loose to the upside, in my opinion. 107, 117,000 at least, if we break and hold above 100,000 and not reject. So this is what the game is. The risk reward is immense. It's the perfect time to actually play this. If you are not in now and you're scared, if you're already in, let me explain to you what what you are doing right now. If you are already in crypto, if you're long, if you have positions, if you're on spot, if you're an investor, let's say, or swing trader, long term, right now you're in a range. These are your hands. You sit on them like this, so you can't do shit, and you're waiting for a range break. If you are not in crypto, now's the perfect time to get in, because you can see when to get out if shit goes wrong. Let me turn off this light here. I think it looks better like this. I had a blue bar light under it. Anyway, or do you prefer it on? I know this is relevant, but gives a little something. I don't know. Blue tint, electric, or matte? What do you prefer? I don't know. Maybe you do it red. Green. For blue. I'm being stupid right now. Regardless, let me know. Anyway, so that's what we're looking at, okay? That's what we're looking at. So now, let me see some of your questions in the chat. Let me sip some coffee. And yes, I can look at some coins if you want me to put them in the chat now. But before I begin, I want to start going live during the week, and I want to know if you guys would like that. Would you guys like me to, let's say, go live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, not just Sundays? Because I'm seeing, even though a lot of our calls are for weekly or even monthly analysis, a lot of you are getting confused, you're getting stressed, you're getting emotional with everything that's going on, and some people need a little bit more reassurance. Some people might miss a live stream. Do you want me to go on more live streams? Because I'm really thinking about getting, in 2026, going live more often. There's a few things I'm changing up in 2026. Number one is I want to do more value content, not so much sponsored content, to give you value, to teach you to actually make money in crypto, at least how I've been doing it since 2017. The second thing I want to do is start going live more, but I just want to make sure that people want me to go live and they don't get fed up, because I don't want to drop my viewership, if that makes sense. And then I only want to make videos when it makes sense, if that makes sense. I just said make sense multiple times, but you get what I mean. So that's one thing I want to do. The second thing is, this is my home office in Greece, but I'm also building a podcast room right next door where my old gym was, because I have a pretty big room there. It's a gym, but now I want to make that a podcast room, just for different types of content and so on. But I'm also setting up in Dubai. So depending on where I am at any given time, I'll be able to make videos and just get them out. But I'm really thinking about going live more, so let me know if you want more live streams. Anyway, let's look at the chat. Good morning, Paul. How are you? I'm good. Kalimera from Arizona. What's up, Aristotelis? Hello from California. What's up, California? Cindy, Australia. What's up? Will Zcash pump up again? Look, let's look at Zcash. This is a good question, and I don't know if it's going to pump up again. No one can tell you that. Let's look at probabilities, though. And let's look at what I'm personally expecting, in my opinion. Yeah. So this is Zcash on the 4 hour. Now, I've been telling you to buy Zcash every time everyone was selling. Because look, the factor line itself, buying down here was just easy. I just told you to buy this SFP. It was at the bottom of the range, top of the prior range. I was begging people to buy here. I was telling you to buy at $140, $144, but I was also begging you to buy here. And then when we came back down, the factor line told you to buy again. We came up, rejected, came back down, or made some sort of resistance, came back down. Factor line told you to buy and confirmed the buy here. So SFP buy, swing failure point here, and then confirmation dot right here to buy long term. Came all the way up here, told you to sell your swing here and your gold buy here, and then told you to buy back here, buy back here. And the factor line is being gold here. So right now it's gold and it's trading a little sideways. I think it just made a new range. Yes, let me just take this out. Oops, sorry about that. Let me just, what did I just do? Sorry about that, give me a second. I don't know what that, there you go. So this line here, let's just move this up a little bit. See, it just gave you a range here on the 4 hour. And if we can break this range to the upside, that's where I had this line before, but now the factor line is giving you a range. If we can break this, that's what I'm expecting. Now, we didn't do it back here, but that does not mean that we cannot do it here, if that makes sense. Your resistance level is here at 747. So you basically want to be taking profits on the way up from this break, or even buy the break, then take profits on the way up here. So a profit range would be, let's say, the top of this SFP over here. Then your next profit range, let me just delete this, would be at the top of the prior range or the larger range here. And then you're taking profits, you're buying the breakout. Your stop loss is under the range or the top here, or the previous resistance, this becomes support. So if, for example, you come down, but it breaks under, you're getting out, you're already in profits because you've been taking profits. But if it comes down, but makes that support, you're buying this breakout or wherever that breakout is, and basically you're going for all-time high, blue sky breakout price discovery up here. So Zcash is actually a very good play. It's a very strong play. You can see that on the 4-hour. And generally speaking, it looks very, very strong. Let me just check the daily real quick. Same thing, I guess. Daily also looking strong. We're just waiting for this breakout. So you can either buy and set your stop loss under the mid-range over here from before, or you can wait for the breakout by the breakout. It's up to you. But yes, Zcash is a strong play in my opinion. Mr. Fred, hi Paul, Happy New Year, man. Could you please take a look at Doge and Miria? I could take a look at Doge real quick. And we can talk about Miria a little bit, because I told you to get out of Miria. Doge is a bottom formation, just off the bat, just as I'm looking at it right here. Look, it's got this range over here, and it's just about to break out. If we can break out, and this is on a daily, so if we can, Doge can actually break out, which is about to do. Sorry, give me a second. If Doge can break, make this support, and come up, it's off to the races in my opinion, and you're taking profits around here, or you're buying the breakout if that becomes support, but then you're watching this level over here. This needs to break, and then it's off to the races in my opinion. So that's what's going on with Doge right here. So Doge is actually looking as a good buying signal right here, because it has a bottom formation here. This actually looks really good, and it has a clear exit in my opinion of here and here, if that makes sense. Now, as for Miria, let's look at KuCoin. Miria, even though it has an SFP buy and then sell, I wouldn't get into Miria until it comes back into this prior range on the daily up here. Because this right now, it's such strong. If we come all the way back here and draw this line, and let's make this white so you can see it better. Yeah, so about there. And we can move it up to meet the other candle bodies and the top of this candle. We can move this up or down to meet the range over here. Technically it's here, but the range is up here. So it's about the same. So it's giving you a smaller range up here as well. This is key over here. So I wouldn't be surprised if Miria comes up here and rejects. And that would be a problem, because if it breaks, oops, sorry. Give me a second. So it comes up, rejects, and then if it breaks under, it's dead, right? And this would happen if we break down on Bitcoin, in my opinion, and we go into a bear market. The only way it can be saved is if it starts trading in this range over here, and then gaming comes back towards the end of the bear cycle as we anticipated, and it actually starts breaking out, if that makes sense. That might be a possibility. I'm doing this face because I'm not too sure about it. Because I called for gaming to make a comeback at the end of the cycle, and we're not seeing it yet. Maybe it still comes into fruition, but so far I was wrong. I was right about AI, perpetual dexes, privacy, Bitcoin price, resistance, so on, bottoms, tops, but not gaming, or I also said gaming, RWA, and deepen will run towards the end of the cycle. I also said RWA more than likely next cycle, but regardless, I also put that in for this cycle. Hi Paul, Happy New Year. We already talked about that. Hey Paul, how are you doing? I'm doing well. Thank you so much, Mo. Really appreciate you. Spartans says Happy New Year from Sparty. What's up, Sparty, my man? Strong people there, man. You got one of the 300s. Spartan 3, one of the 300, man. Representing. Ahoo! Can XRP still go to $47? Yes, it can. But for me, I was saying that, so I was saying to buy XRP, and now it's funny because people are starting to listen to me finally when it comes to XRP, because I was telling you to get out of the previous bull market, that's not going to move, and it didn't. We missed an entire bull market. Then I was telling you not to buy it until it breaks 72 cents to $1, and start buying it between 72 cents to $1 for a play to $3, and everyone was saying, I'm crazy, I'm stupid, I'm going to miss it. We went over 72 cents. Right? Sorry, 72 cents to $1. Started buying. Everyone's saying I was wrecked because apparently they can't understand English. Buy when it's over $72 to to the $3 range. We did that perfectly, rejected $3, now it's down. People don't get it. So regardless, let's see what's going on with XRP. And we already did analysis a while ago on XRP, and I was saying this. I was saying that XRP really needs to break this orange line for there to be a continuation. And until it does, I won't get in. So $2.3, it did not. And then if I said if it doesn't break, it will probably come and break the lower range, which it did, this part here, the mid-range. So now it's over here. There's an SFP buy. This white line is there for a reason. I said I won't bother buying XRP until it breaks this white line over here. So that's the $2 mark, which it just broke. Wait a second, give me a second. Let me go to the 4 hour. Interesting. All right, so look. Yep, gold. So look, let's just clean this up. Oh, it's a problem with live streams sometimes. It's a strong buy for XRP. Factor line told you to buy here at 1.8-ish. We're going up. We need to break. We already broke here. We need to hold above this. Yeah, exactly. See, it's so perfect. Comes up, rejects down, boom, breaks above in connection with the previous. This is why I love ranges and I love this indicator. So look, we came up, rejected, came back down, held, came above, now rejected. If we can stay above this line, then your next target to take profits would be around if you're a day trader, here. And if that breaks, then you're looking at the top of the range. Very simple. Over here. And you can take profits, and then you wait and see. Can they get to all-time highs? That was your question though, right? $4 to $7. It needs to break 3.6. I would argue not to wait for 3.6. I would argue that if $3 psychological breaks, which is actually 3.90, but let's say $3 psychological, chances are it's going to challenge and break all-time highs depending on what the market's doing. And if it breaks this, as I was saying for years, yes, there's a chance for $4 to $7. So that's the levels I'm looking at, the main levels I'm looking at for XRP. I don't know if you have a more specific question, but that's what I'm getting here. Can it do it? Just as in can it? Sure, anything's possible. You would have to see an overall market go up. Bitcoin would have to be doing well in order for this to happen. So eyes on Bitcoin, eyes on the cryptocurrency. You don't want to look at outliers. And then if as a whole we get in, we go up, then yeah, XRP could do this. And even if it's a 4-year cycle and the top comes in beginning 2026, like the first 3 months, it's still possible to do this in a couple of weeks, by the way. I know that sounds crazy, but it's possible. And it's done so before. Paul, if we're sitting on the sides, when should we get in on alts and which ones? I would wait for Bitcoin to hold and make 90K key support to even think about getting into altcoins. Then I would very slowly get into the ones like Zcash, which I just said as a hedge. But then you have perpetual dexes like Aster, like Hype, and maybe some major coins like Solana and so on. But I would be very, very wary. If we break 100,000, then old mayhem will probably go loose, but 100,000 has to hold. Then you can get in a little bit more aggressively because it's a very easier stop loss under 100,000, if that makes sense, but we can reevaluate at that time. So right now I'm holding altcoins, not as much as I was because I exited to Bitcoin and USDT like I've been telling you, which was good. And now we're waiting to see what's going to happen and so on. You can always get back in later. There will always be lagging plays. There will also always be opportunities, if that makes sense. Blue light on. Okay, blue light is on. Thank you, Mr. Fred. I have $300,000. I want to turn it into 1.2 million. How am I going to do it? Please be blunt. You want me to be blunt? All right, I'll be blunt. If you want to do it within crypto or stocks, you need to learn technical analysis. You need to learn how to do this yourself. At least the basics. You can't rely on a bald guy on YouTube giving you advice for $300,000. And I'm not giving that advice because everyone's risk-reward ratio is different, everyone's assets are different, and so on. So I can't give you advice, no one can, okay? So if you're gonna play with such money, you really need to invest in you, in yourself. And when I mean in yourself, I mean by learning cryptocurrency, by learning how to trade. And most importantly, learning technical analysis. Now, there's two ways to do this. Number one, or there's a few ways to do this. Number one, if you trust me, since you're asking me, I'm assuming that you trust me and you want my opinion, I would learn how I personally invest, trade, and think. I would try to make me a mentor. The problem is you can't because I'm no one's mentor. I don't do that. So the closest thing you can do is get my course, Invest, Trade, and Think Like the Crypto Factor. And this will show you exactly how I invest, how I trade, how I think, and it will give you a lifetime access to the factor line indicator. And you can see different success stories. Now, this is expensive. It's not cheap. It's not a cheap indicator. It works. It's at $1,497. It's going to go up to $2,600 soon. All right. But this is what you can do, and this is what you can learn if you want to get my course. And there's no other course out there like this. It's all video, it's updated constantly, and it's the best thing I've ever built, to be honest with you, in my opinion. Now, if you can't afford that, which would be weird because you want to invest $300,000, but let's say you can't afford that, or let's say you don't trust me yet, or let's say you're not ready to dive in, or for whatever reason you don't want to part with that money, then I would take the free webinar, which is at the top of the chat. If you go to the top of the chat, this is the chat over here. If you click this link, it will take you to a free webinar that also goes to a masterclass. There's no email signups, nothing like that, just straight out teaches you candlesticks. It will give you something from inside the course that will be of value so you can start learning, then you can decide if you want to get the course. And then if that's not good, if you don't trust me at all, then just go get some books. There's some amazing books out there on trading. There's, I would get Candlesticks by Steve Nissan. I would start only listening to Steve Nissan when it comes to candlesticks. I would start studying different indicators and seeing which one works for me. If you want the factor line, it's the only way to get it for the course, but you know what I mean. By the way, quick update on the factor line. Automation is coming. So if you want to automate trading on the factor line, it's actually coming very, very soon, within the month more than likely. And there's an extra sign-up fee for that, but basically it lets you trade. It lets the factor line swing trade and trade for you long term. Right, long term, like an investor and swing trader. And I haven't seen anything out there like this, okay? So that's what's coming to the factor line pretty soon. I'm breaking up. I'm not sure I can do something about that. I'm afraid it might be the internet. Am I okay now? Is my sound okay now? Hopefully someone can tell me if the sound... Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go inside and get some water. And then let me know in the chat if you can hear me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be talking while I'm going inside because I really need something to drink. I'm getting very thirsty. So give me a second here. So just walking to the kitchen. Let me get some soda water. So hopefully you can still hear me, and hopefully I'm not cutting up now. And by the time I get back to the computer, maybe the connection is better. So let's see if the connection is better now. So hopefully the connection is better. Can you hear me? You sound fine. There were times you broke up. Yeah, well, sometimes that happens with the internet connection, I guess. Okay, so we should be okay now. So let's continue. So that's what I would do. I would invest in you. Now, if you're asking more fundamentally what you would do, I mean, you can do exactly what I would. You could get into part of, with that 300,000, get part of it into the markets, wait for the breakdown to the upside and downside, and then basically add to it, just like I explained earlier on. Of course, with your own risk, not financial advice, not financial advisor. And I would get, if you're looking for a 3, 4x, you're waiting for you to take profits on the way up, or wait till the bear market, buy as we're coming out of the bear market, and you're just looking at Bitcoin only at this point. Maybe Solana. Because essentially, you 3 or 4x with such a massive amount, and hopefully, unless you want to do it in a couple of months, which is stupid, then you have time in front of you, because it's a big amount of money. But you need to learn how to risk portfolio, how to do, there's a lot of things you need to learn. So I would get the course, to be all honest with you. I would definitely get the course. I mean, and everyone that got the course so far, no one has any, complaints or anything like that. Everyone loves it, everyone's using it. It's all good. You can scan the code right here with your phone. It will take you to the course page, or you can use the links in the description down below, okay? Let's see what else we have. Let's see what else we have. Go live as much as possible, mate. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about going live Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as well as Sundays. Or maybe even daily, but I need to see my schedule and see how things work out and the time. Because if I'm gonna go live every day, I may not be able to go live at this hour. So maybe my live streams will be more longer term live streams, if that makes sense, so that people can catch it either the night or the day after or the 2 days after and so on. So that might be a way to do it as well. Hi, Paul. So if we reject 100K, should we get out? Depending on what the charts look at, like, yes. For me, you would be taking partial profits at 100K and then adding and getting back in the market once you break 100K and making that support. And then you have a clear stop loss or exit, if that makes sense. Nikolai says, hey mate, sorry if I'm asking a stupid question. There's no stupid questions, just stupid people. Just kidding. Just kidding. How can we expect a price discovery from Zcash if a heads and shoulder pattern is to be expected from Bitcoin? Thank you. Because altcoins can run within 2 weeks and they can just do crazy, crazy shit if we ever get a full-blown alt season, which we won't, but we might get a selective full-blown alt season, which means select coins can do what coins did in the full-blown alt season. If you've never seen that, you can see 10, 20x in a week or two or more. And Zcash, now Zcash is a bit different because it's a breakout. It's not really blue sky breakout because it was higher before that. But there's no much resistance, so effectively it acts the same way. So there'll still be price discovery, if that makes sense. Just maybe not in the right terminology. But if we reject and it's a heads and shoulders, then obviously probably won't happen. Altcoins might run a little bit more than Bitcoin, but it's probably gonna be all over. Don't forget these are all probabilities, okay? Hard to see the chart. What was the exit price to exit Doge if it breaks out? You mean to the downside? I mean, you can eyeball it, dude, but let me have a look. You can go back. I mean, this video is going to be up. But let's have a look. Maybe we can help you out here. So yeah, I would get out of, depending on your risk. Okay, look. So something important that I just noticed on the 4-hour. Let me just, give me a second. Let's do a little bit more of analysis here because so this line on the 4-hour, I would be very careful if we go under, let me just put here, 0.11, call it 10 cents psychological. Under 10 cents psychological, chances are this is going to break down here as well. Okay? Just ballparking it for you. I sound fine. There were times you broke up and times when the chat seemed to say, I got it. Connection is fine. Sound and audio is good for me. That's the humble opinion of someone being a nice one. Thank you. All right. Hey, Paul, few people 2 months ago, but now currently many talking about on X about a blow off top at 100. Well, yeah, because we've been calling this for years, and people start like changing everything, like because they're trying to like look at charts on the daily charts. So for me, I don't listen to people on Twitter or X. I don't listen to news. Just show me the charts. I'll tell you the news. Those are the ranges we're looking at. Why confuse yourself? Just look at the range, look at the patterns, and just go off of my analysis. Or at least that's what I do. I'm not telling you to do that. You can do whatever you want. So I don't listen to noise. I just look at my charts, look at my ranges, and that's what I act on. And it just makes everything so much more simple. By the way, quick favor, I'm going to ask you something. If you want to give me a present, I'm not going to ask for money or crypto, by the way. Just hear me out here. If you want to give me a Christmas present, okay, even though you don't need to, but if you do want to, because I don't know, you're feeling good, you're appreciating these live streams, you appreciate me, you like my beard and my bald head, okay? Let's say you like my bald head, you're feeling the shine, you like the shine. I would really, really appreciate two things from you. Two Christmas presents I would want. Even though it's a bit late, it's New Year's, I would want 2 Christmas presents for you. Number one, if you can just share this video, if you can just push the share button and share it on your social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, whatever, I would really, really, really appreciate you. And the second thing is, if you watch one of my videos and you see a hype button, there's a new button, it's called hype. You can do 2 or 3 of them a week, depending on, you can do 2, 3 hypes a week. It doesn't cost anything, doesn't take no time. It just helps that channel that's smaller, because I'm a small channel, even though we're 57,000 subscribers almost, it helps to get more exposure by YouTube. I would really, really appreciate that, because more people watching this video means I can sell more courses, make more money, meaning I can give you more videos and do more live streams and so on. I know it sounds weird, but ever since I went full-time YouTube, and I'm not working with companies or anything like that, I need a way to live. So, and you might be saying, oh, you're just trading crypto. Yes, but I don't want to take money out of crypto, which is what I've done since 2017. I need more revenues of income, if that makes sense, okay? If you can do that, because I'm making the other studio, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, it would really, really help me a lot if you just share this video, and if you hit the hype button if you see one on any of my videos. I would really appreciate that. That would be any time in 2026 you do that for me, I would really appreciate you. Thank you. That's it. That's all I ask. Ivan on Tech being the biggest knob. Look, he's not a knobhead. He's just very... Okay, look, I like Ivan on Tech. And I used to watch him, and you know, I haven't seen him for a while, but I used to watch him from time to time. He's not wrong, he's just, when it comes to technical analysis, listen to me what I'm going to say. I want to be very careful with my words, because I don't want people to think I'm offending someone. I don't want people to think I don't like someone. I don't want people to think that I'm talking down on someone. When it comes to technical analysis, he's very amateur, but he's better than most people out there. I don't know if that makes sense. It's just very few things that he doesn't know, because it's not his job to know, and he doesn't need to know them. And the problem is that because of this, he can say certain things that will confuse people and sometimes get them wrecked. And one of the biggest examples were, he was saying if we go down 110,000, the line in the sand was 110,000, we'll drop to the low hundreds. I was saying, no, the line in the sand is 112,000, not 110,000. And if we do, we're going to go down much faster than anticipated. And that was also with my argument of just looking at the weekly chart. At some point, he was saying, just look at the weekly chart. It's too much, a lot can happen in a week in crypto. And this works in mid-market, but it doesn't work towards the end and the beginning, right? So Ivan on Tech is actually great. He's very good at tech, very good at, if you want to listen to news, what's going on in an entertaining way and actually learn some shit, Ivan on Tech is great. But he's not a technical analyst. I used to teach technical analysis and fundamental analysis in the Forex industry. So It's a bit different. I grasp things a bit better. But that said, Ivan on Tech is a lot better at other things than me. We all have our strengths and minuses. For example, I'm not a good day trader. I'm a shit day trader because I'm too Greek. I'm too emotional. Even though I tell everyone you should not look at emotion, this and that, I'm a very bad, every time I day traded, I made a lot of money, but I lost more. Okay? I'm a swing trader investor. I take very few trades and keep them long term, and I'm very good with macro tops and bottoms, and that's my strength. And I realized this, and I adapted to that. And then my niche, if you will, when I trade my niche, my strengths, are breakouts and snap and cracks. And that's what I teach in my course. I teach long-term investing and swing trading, snap and cracks and breakouts. I teach everyone, you know, I teach you like the indicator, this, that, certain technical analysis, Western technical analysis, Eastern technical analysis, and risk management. But I also teach where to find your strengths and style. And that's what most people don't do and don't understand. For example, Alessio Rastani, I've only disagreed with him twice, and he was right over me a few times. But he uses Elliott wave theory. I don't use Elliott wave theory. Does that make sense? Different trading styles. And they both work, depends how good you are at them, right? When it comes to the factor line, my indicator, much better than the money line that Ivan on Tech has. I challenge him, actually. I challenge anybody with indicators out there to put their indicators side and side with my indicator. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to sponsor a fucking competition. Let's just put them all side by side and see which one works better. Which one has more code? Which one is more built? Which one is... I'm telling you right now, my indicator would blow them out the water. But for swing trading and long-term investing, if you're day trading, you might want to use other indicators in conjunction. And that's what I show in the course. I don't just show my indicator. Does that make sense? I teach you how to trade. So everyone has their different style. Zane says, yeah, Paul, once your channel get big, people like big banks will pay you to talk about bollocks to... They already do, though. Oh, I'm already sponsored. I already get sponsored in these videos, in a lot of my videos. The difference is that in every single one of my sponsored videos, I disclose that it's a sponsored video, and I give my actual opinion. I've even called out something a scam in a sponsored video, meaning I got paid and called it a scam. This is why people follow me, because I'm ruthlessly transparent and honest on my channel. So, and I find it funny because for me it's like scamming the scammers. I tell them I'm going to give them an honest opinion, I'm going to make an honest opinion video. They think I mean an honest opinion video like other YouTubers, and they don't get that an honest opinion video means if I see a red flag, like fake LinkedIn accounts, I'm going to call them out and call it a scam. So I've lost a lot of long-term sponsors because of that. So now I don't have a lot of sponsors, which is fine because I want to promote my course and indicator. And I lost a lot of money because of that, but I find it's like the right thing to ethically do, have fun, give value, and make money at the same time. So I always call out sponsors, and I'm already getting people in touch with me. They just pay less than Ivan on Tech and other channels. And I disclose them. Most channels out there don't disclose them. Ivan is telling people to sell at the bottom and buy at the top. Ivan was saying everyone is a pleb. Ivan was saying everyone is a pleb for keeping money in when the market was already 50% down. Well, that's what I'm saying. He's not a very good TA guy. He's not. He's going by his money line. He's a good investor. He's good at fundamentals and utility and understanding all this stuff, which doesn't matter when it comes to price. He's better than most people out there. But he's wrong when it comes to long-term moves. Not long. I'm misspeaking. I don't want to. I really don't want to get this wrong. He's how can I put this? He doesn't have the experience as a TA guy to be able to tell you TA things. but he's very good as an investor, stuff like that in tech. So again, I listen and I've learned from Ivan on tech, right? I give him that. And it's not bad. What I'm saying is not bad. Saying that he's not a TA guy doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Gareth Soloway is a TA guy. He's a great TA guy. He's a day trader. He's just not a very good trader when it comes to crypto and long-term narratives, in my opinion. One main aspect of or feature of your channel is consistency during the last 3 years. Yeah, because I'm a long-term swing trader. Your bet with Gareth Soloway. Yeah. The bet. So Gareth Soloway, I actually made a bet with him, which I won publicly. And I bet him that the range of the Bitcoin bottom will be 15 to 17,000. This was when we were higher, we're coming down over 20. He was calling for 12 or 8,000. And I was saying no, 15 to 17,000, 15.6K being the sweet spot. That was luck. That was kind of luck. I think it was luck because I was looking for the sweet spot that everyone gets wrecked. But yeah, I won that bet. And that was a really good bet. And now I'm doing the same thing like I did with Gareth Soloway, just not publicly, not with so officially, with Benjamin Cohen. Because Benjamin Cohen was saying bear market at 75,000, and I was saying no, bear market when it broke 90,000. I'm saying no. Yes, we can go into a bear market, but we're not in a bear market. Bear market happens when we break structure, and until structure breaks, which is 74,000, we're not in a bear market. Now the problem is that if we do break under 174,000, I'm going to say, hey, yeah, okay, now it's a bear market or potentially a bear market. People won't understand the TA that goes into there and won't understand the principles of technical analysis, unfortunately. And everyone's going to praise him. But if we go up, and it was a great call, that's the only way people will start understanding structure is if we go up from here, even though it's a probability thing and we might not. People will only understand and say, hey, shit, Paul out-called Benjamin Cohen if we go up and we have a heads and shoulder patterns or a continuation, all-time highs and so on. And even then they won't admit it. So it's a very hard call, but then I'm just going to make a video one day out-calling the biggest traders. And I'm going to put Benjamin Cohen, Ivan on tech, crypto banter, which I like, by the way, but for other reasons, not trading, and so on. And I'll just make a video showing where I out-called them. But again, the problem is I was right because I know I'm right. Until you break structure, it's not a bear market, but people will only understand that if we go up, like, oh, look, he was right. Even though in principle, 74,000 is structure break. You know what I mean? Thank you so much, Zain. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you. Will be great if you can have Ben. I mean, I made a video out calling him and explaining why he was wrong, respectfully. Yeah. Some gap should wait to buy, or is it 100%? Okay, so let's talk about gaps. And this is important. Listen to me, because this is important here. I'm getting excited. Let's talk about gaps, because people don't understand this about gaps. And this is where you see real traders like myself, and I know I'm calling myself a real trader here, or someone at least, let me take that back, someone that understands technical analysis. I'm not a trader. I'm someone that understands technical analysis and has some experience. So people are saying that the gap must fill, and this is incorrect. Now, first of all, you have to understand that gaps are only on the CME. Not in crypto, because crypto is a 24-hour market. You rarely see gaps, if at all. The only time gaps arise is through the CME and so on, ever since that happened. Now, gaps, whether you're trading stocks, whether you're trading Forex, or whether you're trading crypto, a gap is not an indication that it has to fill. As a matter of fact, more gaps fill to the upside than the low side. That's number one. And number two, gaps are not supposed to be used as potential fill points. They're supposed to be used as support and resistance compared to other. Let me show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean here. Let me show you what I mean. So first of all, let's establish there's no such thing as gaps in crypto generally. There are a few outliers just because it's a 24-hour market. So if you're using gaps, you're just doing it if you're using traditional markets to trade crypto. That's number one, okay? Let's establish that. Number two, let's establish that crypto trades more like Forex markets rather than stocks because it's a 24-hour market. There are some differences. I go through this in my course, but let's just establish that and keep that in mind as well. And let me show you how you're supposed to place gaps. And this is in my course, by the way. This is in the Invest, Trade, and Think Like the Crypto Factor course. You're going to get this for free now. I'm going to give you some free alpha. All right, look. Let me just grab a pen. All right, so look. You have candles, okay? Let's say you have some candles, right? You have a candle here. It doesn't matter what color there is. You have candles, and so on, right? Whatever. Obviously, this is not exact. Then you get a gap here. And then you see like a shooting star candle, let's say, or that's not really, well, okay, whatever. And you get something like this, okay? Now, I showed you earlier on how to draw ranges. Ranges are where you grab, let's say, support 2, or 3 supports, even better, will constitute to a range once you get a top like this. This is a range. So this is a range. This is the bottom of the range, is the top of the range. That's something I personally do. I look at half ranges as well. Most people just look at the top and the bottom. I always draw the half as well, and so on, okay? Let's say that rejects this. All right, this is a range. Now imagine something like this over here. And let's say there's a gap. What you do is you draw a line at the bottom of this candle and a second line at the top of this candle. And this becomes a range. And now you have support and resistance amplified. So if this corresponds to this range or other indicators, that's a potential bounce area. So it will bounce potentially. Or if it breaks under and makes that resistance, you potentially lower. So it just amplifies ranges and other indicators and so on. And that's how you're supposed to use gaps. Okay? This is not me saying this out of my ass. This is not me being a genius. This is strong, professional, technical analysis from the big boys that most traders, I don't know why, ignore. So if you look at legends like Steve Nissan, he's the one that discovered Eastern technical analysis and brought it to the West. If you take his $18,000 course, which I have, which that's where I learned from, then you will learn stuff like this and how to use gaps and so on. If you don't, you will hear some guy say this on the internet or in a course, then somebody try and say, look, this must always fill because they've noticed whatever, and then everyone just parrots that and you get the wrong information. You might say, Paul, does it make that much of a difference? Yes, it does. It makes a huge difference because now it changes the whole psychology of your trading from the gap must fill to, holy crap, let me see the rejection support zone in there. What other indicators do I have? Potentially that's a bottom. Hey, what? Guess what? Paul called 15.6K. Guess what? Paul called 74,000 temporary bottom. Guess what? How did he do that shit? Because Paul knows technical analysis from the professionals. It's not that he's a genius. He just knows shit that other people don't know because he studied the courses, which is what I'm doing in my course. Does that make sense? Right? So that's what you need to learn. And it's a lot of shit like that that people don't know. A lot of shit. Let me show you something else. And this is something I go into my course as well. This is huge alpha I'm giving you right now, okay? Let me show you something else. When you do technical analysis, something nobody is really talking about in crypto or TradFi, there's a triangle. All right, so imagine a triangle. So you have Western technical analysis over here. So this is your Western technical analysis. This is your management. All right, your portfolio management down here. And up here, you have Eastern, sorry my spelling, technical analysis, okay? Now, most people do Western technical analysis on YouTube and so on. Those are your heads and shoulder patterns, your inverse heads and shoulder patterns, your cup and handles, your moving averages and so on. Great, this is all awesome, dandy, awesome, okay? Everyone does Western technical analysis. Less people talk about management. And this is your stop losses, your risk management, your take profits, your risk reward ratios, and so on. This is actually more important than this. And less people do this. Even less people use Eastern technical analysis. And Eastern technical analysis is your candlesticks. And candlesticks are the fastest and strongest reversals out of the three. So now, as a standalone, it's not to be used. They're used in conjunction with Western technical analysis, with management. So it's a triangle. It's the trifecta of trading. And using all three together gives you the best calls. Candlesticks gives you the reversal patterns faster. Because Western technical analysis generally is lagging, the candlesticks give you the reversal patterns faster. And that's one of the secrets in my course. We go over candlesticks like no one ever before, but cater to crypto candles, not normal candles, right? That's the difference here. And that's my secret. That's what I go over in the course. It's also the webinar. If you follow the webinar in the chat up here, if you look at the webinar up here, just open this in another tab over here, or in the description down below. It goes through a webinar, and later on, it actually goes through candlesticks. So the trifecta, you need the trifecta if you want to be profitable. Again, most people do this, less people do this, which is much more important. Arguably the most important of the two, and of the three, and then you have Eastern technical analysis, and altogether you have the trifecta. That's one of the things I teach on the course and actually show you this. And the course is Invest, Trade, and Think Like the Crypto Factor, and comes with my indicator that pretty much shows you all this and gives this all to you inside the indicator. There are options in the indicator that you don't see when I do my technical overview videos like this one, because technical analysis takes more time, but there's more to the indicator that gives you all this and shows you all this. That's why it's so powerful. That's why I get all these calls. Does that make sense? I might get some narrative calls wrong, whatever, but these calls, it's because they indicated my technical analysis, and it's all in the course. So people get a lot of shit wrong. People get a lot of shit wrong because of this. Oh my God, the golden cross, or oh my God, we have a bear, whatever, the death cross. Death cross sounds so scary. Death cross means close to reversal. When we got the death cross last time on Bitcoin, I can show you this. I'm not going to go on too long because I don't want to get people, I don't know how many people want to listen to this, to be honest with you. But when we got the death cross last time, I was saying we're going to come close to a bottom. And we got the death cross. And both times we actually made the bottom. And this was stuck to everybody who doesn't know how to do technical analysis. This penis with the two balls. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying. All right. Does that make sense? So there's a lot of shit people don't know. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to call them out. I'm just saying, look, crypto's different and people forget these or don't know these kind of things. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, about gaps, your question, Mary Perez, about your question about gaps, you just got a full mini course. You just got a full mini course. Somebody cut this part out and post it online. Like the audience, I'm talking about you guys. Please cut these parts out, like for the gaps, this and that, and just post them online. I would really appreciate it. Let's start getting people educated. Zane says, why not do a channel about DCAing into the market? Because I don't like DCAing. I think DCAing is crap. And I've made videos about this, and it's also in my course. So while we're doing this, let's have a look at why DCAing is crap. Shall we? Let me do this again. All right, so for context, DCA is dollar, and yeah, I know my spelling, dollar cost averaging. Okay. So what is dollar cost averaging? Dollar cost averaging, DCAing, is essentially, in a nutshell, let me just turn this unicorn off, it's pissing me off, dapping over here. Let's say it's when you put a certain amount of money on a weekly, monthly, or time frame basis over time. So for example, let's put $1,000 per week over, I don't know, 6 months. So you're basically putting $1,000 every week or every month, depending on whatever time frame you choose. And let's say you have Bitcoin $1,000 worth. It becomes $800 worth because the price goes down. It goes down to 700, but then it goes up to 1,500. Then it goes up to 2,000 and so on. Basically, you take all this that you're buying every single month or week or depending on your time frame, and you get the average of this. And the average will give you the best entry over that period though, over that specific period, okay? Which is great, it works, but it's not the best thing to do. So I have done DSAing, and DSAing is different than DCAing, and it's a term I coined. I actually invented the word, there was no such thing. Instead of dollar cost averaging, I dollar swing average. So dollar swing average. And this is whenever you don't buy every week, you buy swing. So it's $1,000. Bitcoin's $1,000. Goes to $1,200. Depending on how it gets there. Goes down to $800, you buy the swing. Goes down to 400, you buy the swing. Goes to 1,000, you don't buy. Goes to 1,200, you don't buy. Goes up to 1,500, you don't buy. Goes back to 1,200, you buy the swing. You dollar swing average. And you can see this on the chart. I show you how to do this in the course, but there's also a way to use the factor line indicator to do this automatically. As a matter of fact, it's one of the auto features that we're getting on the swing, the factor line this month. So the factor line is going to be able to invest long term, but also dollar swing average for you. Billions asking about Ethereum. Let's talk about Ethereum. Let's have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum USDT. So Ethereum USDT, let's just get rid of all this stuff. I told you down here last time it was a buying signal, a strong buying signal. So far it's been going up. It stayed gold. We have an SFP sell. If you're swing trading, you're selling and you're buying down here somewhere. But essentially it's now trading within the lower, it just broke, sorry, into the range, into the previous range over here. So this is the sorry, I just burped. This is the previous range. We just got back into it. We basically want to break, sorry. Above the mid-range. This is the 4 hour, okay. Above the mid-range. So you want to see Ethereum do something like this. It will probably reject here, come down, keep the support, come up, do something like this. And then you're waiting for this breakout for the upside. Oh no, I just released that. Let me try that again. So you're waiting for, sorry. Coming up here, maybe reject, make a higher low, come up, break into this range, and then here. So something like this. That's what you're waiting for. So for me, you can buy here. Your exit for me would be here. This red line, let me just make this red. That would be somewhere where your stop loss, if this becomes resistance, like that, you're out. Your line in the sand is here. If you want to be a little bit more, sorry, let's make that another color. Here, let's make it blue. And then basically that's your Ethereum analysis. But you want to start trading in, for me, if I was going to buy Ethereum, I want to see it trading in here, in this upper mid-range. Now let's have a look what that looks like on the daily. Just curious here. There you go. So the daily, you can see it much better. So there you go. That's what. So you wait a little bit more for it to like make sure that this is going to be the new range over here, and then you start playing the range, or you're waiting for breakouts and so on, just like I explained earlier on in this live stream for other coins. MR Perez, that's not influencers. Why don't other YouTubers not tell us this? Because in most part they don't know this. They scare us, don't buy SME, CME, because they don't know what the, I'm sorry, but influencers are not traders, not technical analysis. Listen, let's talk about this, okay? Most technical analysts on YouTube are either new and young, or they're traders from TradFi coming into crypto. If they're from TradFi coming into crypto, in most parts they don't know how crypto markets work. For them, 20-24% dump is a bear market. They look at different indicators. They don't understand how Bitcoin behaves. They use technical analysis on traditional markets for crypto, and it doesn't work that way, okay? But the people trading in crypto, they're usually too young to know technical analysis. They're like 17, 18 years old. You need 3, 4, 5 years to even start learning how to use technical analysis. Were you trying to tell me they learned when they were 13, 14 years old, they started learning how to do TA? No. So most of them don't know how to do TA. Everyone's an expert in the bull market because everything just works in a bull market, right? And essentially, they get wrecked themselves. Or they're day traders. They day trade because they want to get views, which makes sense. If I'm doing a YouTube channel and I want to do TA videos every day, for me to be able to talk about this shit for an hour as I'm doing now, I need to be able to talk about something. If I'm a day trading channel, I need to give day trading technical analysis. One day I might be bullish, one day I might be bearish, the next day I might be, in the morning I might be bullish, and the night I might be bearish, but it's day trading. It's too short a time frame. Yes, you can trade that way, but you watching the videos, you're up and down and emotional, and you don't know what's going on, and neither do they. And the ones that do know what they're talking about are day trading to get views, which I understand. Otherwise, you'd be making videos like this now and then and not getting views and being a small channel like mine. If I was doing day trading videos, you'd get wrecked, I'd get more views and be up to over 100,000 subscribers. But I'm not a good day trader. Why teach you what I don't know how to do? Also, I think it's pointless. The best traders in the world do 3 or 4 trades a year. Why should I day trade to make small gains here and there, where I can make longer positions? Is much safer, much easier, and I can do my job, go out, go to the gym. Why do I need to be stuck over on the computer all day? So this is the problem with technical analysis and influencers, and plus influencers are not fucking traders who know how to do TA, I'm sorry. It's just that sells, and you fall victim to it. That's why I think you should buy my course. And yes, I'm selling my course here, my course right here, with the indicator. Teaches you everything. A lot more than what I've been talking about here. Would it be possible to tell us the time of exit? I could try, but it's better if you know and you watch and you learn how to do this so you can exit if I'm not here, if I'm in Dubai or something, or I'm going to be in Romania in March, right? Then I'll be in Germany more than like, no, sorry, not Germany. Maybe Poland and Istanbul. I'm going to be traveling around as well. I'll try, but will I do it in time? I guess you can follow me on Twitter. Maybe I remember to post it there. MC Paul D. It's verified. Make sure you get the right channel. It's right here. I could try. I did last time. Is whenever I could do it in time, sure. That's the whole point of this channel. Sui. Let's have a look at Sui. Sui USDT. SWE, for me, and I told you this last time, you can see I actually drew this line in the sand. I actually drew this line over here and told you to buy. I told you to buy and wait for it to come up here. It will probably reject right now, where we're sitting right now. Let's see. And if it comes up and breaks above the mid-range, like here, you could buy this for a potential back, but this is a range right here. Let me get rid of this drawing so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the range now that the factor line is giving you. So I told you to buy the bottom of the range. Now we have to see if this mid-range rejects on the daily. So if you're going to take profits, or if we're going to break up above the mid-range and challenge this high of the range. You can either wait, you can either buy now, sell and sell, or wait for the breakout. But if you want to be safe, yeah, you want to break up above $2.1, make that support, and then you have more potential to the upside. And there's different levels you can look at about after. So that's SWE. And this is a technical overview. This is not technical analysis. Why is this a technical overview? Because technical analysis takes too long to do on YouTube, especially live. So I'm giving you a technical overview. Now, granted, my technical overviews are very, very good because of the factor line. But, and that's why it was made, but you just keep that in mind. Technical analysis takes a lot longer to actually do. Canton Network, like Zcash, is being blown up. Is this hype because I see the trillions? So I've been calling the privacy narrative ever since Zcash broke $144. I've been telling you to get into privacy. I called Canton on the day, I believe, of the breakout when it came out. And I've been telling you about other privacy tokens as well. Privacy, if there's going to be continuation in Bitcoin and this market continues, privacy is going to be a narrative. If not this one, next one maybe. Bitcoin dumps. If Bitcoin dumps, you still have Zcash running as a hedge, kind of, but I wouldn't bet too strongly on that. What is this? Oh, okay. Because yes, it's been holding. We've been using it for a while. If you're watching these live streams, but it doesn't mean it's going to last forever. So just be very careful. I sell my SWE for taxes, lost. Oh, I get it. Yeah, of course. I mean, so I get what you're doing. Also, right. I do not understand taxes. I cannot talk about taxes for the simple reason that every country is different. Every state is different. Dubai is different. I can't give that advice not because I'm saying this to protect myself. I just literally have no fucking idea. Like, I don't want to even go there. That is something you need to research depending on where you live and where you pay taxes. That's all I have to say on that. Anyway, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Please like this video. And again, I would really appreciate if you can share this video or parts of this live stream. I would really appreciate just any social media you want, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you have, just click the share button. I would really appreciate that. Or in the future, if you see a hype button under my videos, please hit that hype button. I would really appreciate it. If you want to get me a Christmas gift, that's all I ask. That's all I ask. Check out my course over here, also in the description down below. Free webinar. If it's too expensive or if you're not ready to buy yet, there's a free webinar in the chat and description down below. Watch that webinar. No signups, no email, no nothing. It leads you to another video. Also no signups, no email, no nothing, and teaches you actually how to make money in crypto and gives you the most probabilities to make money in crypto. Again, I love you all. Thank you so much. Have an amazing 2026. I'm going to be going live more often. I'll tell you the days and the hours soon, or just catch me live and we'll see, and we'll just take it as it goes. Thank you, take care, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, bye-bye.